In the words of Benazir Bhutto, democracy is the best revenge. Today we explore the life of this iconic woman. Our journey starts in Pakistan with a young girl named Benazir, who was born into a politically significant and affluent family. From early on, she was destined to leave her mark in the annals of history, not only in her homeland, but across the globe. Benazir Bhutto, the first woman to head a democratic government in a Muslim-majority nation, was an embodiment of resilience, tenacity, and unyielding commitment to her ideals. Her father, a prominent figure in politics, ignited her passion for public service and set the stage for her future role as a leader. Her early education, steeped in the prestigious halls of Harvard University and the University of Oxford, equipped her with the intellectual prowess she would later need to navigate the labyrinth of Pakistani politics. Yet despite her privileged upbringing, Bhutto was no stranger to adversity. Her life story reads like a gripping novel, filled with trials and triumphs. A woman of substance and courage, Bhutto's life was a series of dramatic events. Born into a politically important and wealthy family, Bhutto's formative years were far from ordinary. The daughter of Zulfikar Bhutto, a prominent politician and former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Benazir was reared in an atmosphere where politics was the family business. This exposure to political dialogue and thought from an early age would undeniably shape her future. Bhutto's early education took place in Pakistan, but her thirst for knowledge and her family's resources allowed her to pursue further studies abroad. She attended Harvard University, a prestigious institution known for shaping many world leaders. It was here that Bhutto began to develop her understanding of democratic principles and governance, which would later become the cornerstone of her political career. After her time at Harvard, Bhutto moved on to the University of Oxford. In this esteemed academic environment, she further honed her political ideologies, balancing them with her deep-rooted cultural and religious beliefs. At Oxford, Bhutto showcased her leadership skills as the president of the Oxford Union, a prominent debating society. This was an early indication of her potential as a political leader, a woman who was not afraid to voice her opinions on a global platform. Her father, Zulfikar Bhutto, was a significant influence on her. He was a strong advocate for democracy and social justice, principles that Benazir would later champion. It was under his tutelage that she developed a deep understanding of the political landscape of Pakistan and the role her family played in it. However, her formative years took a tragic turn with her father's ousting from power and subsequent execution. This event deeply affected Bhutto, pushing her to take up the mantle of leadership and continue her father's political legacy. The personal became political, and Bhutto's life was irrevocably intertwined with the fate of her country. Her father's ousting and execution shaped Bhutto's future in ways unimaginable. Bhutto's return to Pakistan in 1977 marked the beginning of her tumultuous political journey. Stepping back onto the soils of her homeland, she was determined to carry on her father's political legacy, taking the reins of the Pakistan People's Party. The politics of Pakistan, however, was a boiling cauldron of challenges, and Bhutto was not spared. Her rise to power was anything but smooth. She faced imprisonment, a consequence of her father's ousting and the subsequent political upheaval, yet her spirit remained unbroken. In the face of adversity, Bhutto chose self-exile over submission. It was a period of political wilderness, but it only served to strengthen her resolve. She used this time to consolidate her position, strategize, and prepare for her eventual return. And return she did in 1986 to a nation that was yearning for change. Her arrival was a beacon of hope for many, a symbol of resistance against the oppressive political regime. Bhutto led the Pakistan People's Party with renewed vigor, her charismatic leadership inspiring the masses. 2 years later, in the elections of 1988, her efforts bore fruit. The Pakistan People's Party emerged victorious, and Bhutto, the woman who had braved imprisonment and exile, became the first woman elected to head a democratic government in a Muslim-majority country. It was a momentous occasion, not just for Bhutto and her party, but for women everywhere. Her political journey was marred by opposition, accusations, and controversies. She was criticized for her political inexperience and allegations of corruption. Yet she stood her ground, proving herself as a leader who could not be easily toppled. Despite the controversies, Bhutto had made her mark as a formidable female leader. She had risen through turbulence, demonstrating that resilience and determination could overcome even the most formidable challenges. Bhutto's tenure as Prime Minister was a blend of triumphs and trials. The corridors of power in Pakistan were anything but tranquil during Benazir Bhutto's time as Prime Minister. From the moment she took office, she faced a wall of opposition. Conservative and Islamist forces rallied against her, viewing her ascension not as a breakthrough for women's rights, but as a threat to their traditional stronghold over the country's political landscape. Despite the resistance, Bhutto was not deterred. She steered the ship of state with a resolve that was as unyielding as the opposition she faced. Her policies were bold, often pushing against the grain of Pakistan's deeply entrenched societal norms. She sought to advance the cause of women's rights, a mission that was both personal and political. Bhutto, the first woman to head a democratic government in a Muslim-majority country, had a point to prove, not just to her compatriots but to the world. However, her tenure was not without its pitfalls. Accusations of corruption and nepotism swirled around her, casting a shadow over her administration. The accusations were grave enough to lead to the dismissal of her government in 1990. Yet Bhutto was not one to be easily toppled. She clawed her way back to power, leading the Pakistan People's Party to victory in the 1993 elections. Her second term as Prime Minister was a period of significant change. Bhutto embarked on a journey of economic privatization, a move that was seen as a bold departure from the country's socialist past. Yet, the challenges were far from over. Her government was marked by controversies and ultimately yet again dismissed. Her second term, though marred by controversies, saw significant strides towards women's rights and economic privatization. This was the story of Benazir Bhutto, a woman who navigated the rough and tumble of Pakistani politics and left an indelible mark in the corridors of power. The year 2007 marked the tragic end of Bhutto's inspiring yet turbulent political journey. In the late 90s, Bhutto decided to step away from the political limelight, choosing self-exile in 1998. This was a period of retreat, a time for her to reflect on her political journey, her triumphs, her challenges, and the road ahead. It was a phase marked by introspection, but also fraught with legal troubles. In 2003, she was convicted on corruption charges, a verdict that further complicated her political standing. Yet Bhutto was not one to be easily dissuaded. The flame of her political ambition continued to burn bright despite the shadows that loomed. In 2007, she made the decision to return to Pakistan, a move that was met with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. The political landscape had changed drastically during her absence, and she was stepping back into a whirlwind of uncertainty. Bhutto was intent on participating in the 2008 elections, determined to once again lead her country towards a democratic future. But fate had a cruel twist in store. In a tragic turn of events, Bhutto was assassinated after a political rally, a shocking end to a life dedicated to political service. Her death sent shockwaves not just through Pakistan, but the world over. A life of promise and potential was abruptly cut short, leaving behind a legacy that was as inspiring as it was controversial. Benazir Bhutto, a woman of many shades, left behind a legacy that continues to inspire and evoke strong sentiments. Whether viewed as a champion for democracy and women's rights, or criticized for alleged corruption and political inexperience, Bhutto's impact on the political landscape of Pakistan remains undeniable. Her story, fraught with highs and lows, triumphs and tribulations, serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities and challenges that come with leadership. Bhutto, a divisive figure, remains an icon for women's rights. As the first woman elected to head a democratic government in a Muslim-majority country, she shattered ceilings and defied societal norms. Her significance goes beyond her gender, though. Her commitment to democracy, even in the face of imprisonment, exile, and ultimately assassination, is a testament to her indomitable spirit. Despite allegations of corruption and nepotism, Bhutto's legacy is multifaceted and complex. On one hand, she championed economic privatization and attempted to advance women's rights. On the other, her tenure was marred by controversy and opposition from conservative and Islamist forces. Yet these contradictions make her an even more compelling figure. In a world where leaders are often expected to be flawless, Bhutto's story reminds us that they too are human, subject to mistakes and failures. In her life and death, Benazir Bhutto remains a symbol of resilience and defiance, a beacon for women everywhere.